Hello everyone and welcome back to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are going to be taking a look at Gameweek 21. So in tonight's show we're going to be discussing the upcoming fixtures, looking at potential key players and differentials. It's been a while since we recorded Geek. I hadn't had internet for about 3 or 4 weeks while I moved, and it was painful. To play fantasy football on just like on data is pretty awful. So yeah, a lot of game weeks have passed us by, but we're back now. Let's catch up with our most recent game week scores, and then also what's just happened to us generally, overall ranks since it was like the week before Christmas, which is crazy.
Game week 13, yes.
Game week 13.
Okay, so from game week 13, I was around 812,000, and I've played my bench boost, my free hit over 17, and 18 was the blank, wasn't it? I think actually, and then 19 and the double played the bench boost. Got like 8 points on the bench boost from all the Leeds players I wildcarded in, which is pretty awful. So yeah, but I'm up to 159k as of right now.
Nice.
So a decent jump in sort of from the chips and stuff. So and obviously there is still a game to go tonight. We're recording before the Tottenham Liverpool game, so I imagine it's got to be less of a green, that's for sure. Considering I only have Salah and I don't have Son or Kane, so that's a bit of a worry. But yeah, I've done all right this week so far. You know, I got Stones and Cancelo in recently on the wildcard and stuff like that. Stones in, I think it was for the double. He's obviously done really well. Yeah, Cancelo been looking like he's going to haul for ages, and he finally got it this week. A sort of controversial goal, I guess.
It was a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Souček's sitting there with his 15 points on the bench as usual. I've never once got his. I think I owned him from 16. That's the first time I owned him this year when I wildcarded, and I've benched him for all of his hauls. I think it was week 16 where he got another haul or something, and I benched him. And yeah, obviously bench boost with him in the double, and he gets 4 points.
Got 4, didn't he? Yeah.
And then I benched him again this week, and he gets a haul. So I'm going to try and play him next week, I think, and I'm sure he'll blank. So yeah, that's just the way that goes. But yeah, Antonio came in as well. He's done all right.
Yeah,
Rodrigo, I started him over. It was him or Souček, and Rodrigo got an assist at least, but Souček somehow managed to get second bench in the end. But I did KDB to Sterling as well, so that netted me 11 points. Got the captaincy wrong, annoyingly, but yeah, overall pleased enough, I suppose, and just need to get rid of the absolute waste of space Rashford.
Yeah. I've been sort of a very gradual upward climb from when we stopped recording. I had a fairly decent bench boost week, a fairly decent double game week without being spectacular, and I think last week was the highest game week rank, or my highest overall rank of the season. I got to about 370, and I've just had a really poor. I was saying to Kieran earlier, I logged in this morning because I knew it was going to be bad, and just to see 31 points, Souček I think has been Souček and Stones my only point scorers. I've got 3 1s, 0 from James and 2. I mean, I'm going to get 3 points out off the bench, but yeah, really poor game week. So I've fallen about 110,000 places down to 470, and then we're contemplating playing the wildcard this week to get rid of a lot of muck in the team. I mean, a bit like me, you've got the players sort of still hanging over from double game week.
Yep.
Johnston was one of mine who I brought in, absolute waste upgrade on that 4.5 million goalkeeper. I mean, the bench boost was pretty much a disaster because I hardly got any returns from it. So yeah, I kind of feel like wildcarding out of this sort of botched squad is a good idea. I mean, I've got Adams who's not in good form, James who's not in the team. I've got Johnson, like I say, who's taking up 0.5 on my bench. Walker Peters and McCarthy. I've still got the Southampton double up because of the double. Yeah,
that never was. So annoying.
I know. So and the Leeds double that never was. So yeah, they've got a lot of dead wood in my team. So I'm thinking about changing a few things around before the weekend. But perhaps tonight's show will help me plan a little bit better. But onwards and upwards. So we're going to talk about the game week preview coming up. We're going to start, of course, with the first game of the game week, Everton against Newcastle. Everton obviously got that 1-1 draw at home against Leicester last night. Calvert-Lewin's back. Rodriguez got his first goal since game week 4, I think it was.
Yes, yeah. Amazing. He's been out for a while, isn't he?
Yeah,
and he's obviously not returned in ages as well. So, nice to see him back with obviously a nice goal. But yeah, Everton's fixtures: Newcastle this week. Obviously, great game at home. Then Leeds, and then Man United, Fulham, and Liverpool. So, Newcastle, Leeds, Fulham. Next 3 of the next 4 look great for goals at least. Possibly clean sheets, but Pickford howler for Leicester's goal.
Do you think it was a bit unlucky? Even there's a lot of players, it was wet and it was pretty hard. Do you think it was cutting some slack on that one?
No, not really. I think it was shocking. Honestly, the way he goes down is just like he's letting it in almost. It's weird.
It was slow, wasn't it?
Yeah. So as a team. Yeah, as a team, there actually is 1.76 of 3 goals, but they've only had 3 games compared to 5 of others at the moment because they obviously missed one from COVID, I think, and then they missed in the blank as well. So, DCL, he's obviously back. He missed 1 game through injury and then 1 because of the blank. Drops by about 30% ownership because he was above about 60% at one point. Now he's now on 28%. Yeah. He's not actually returned since week 14, which is obviously not ideal. But yeah, against Leicester, he only managed 2 shots, and he only had 3 touches in the box the whole game. So yeah, 0 big chances for him, 0 key passes, 0 big chances created, and that's with before we were sort of selling him because he didn't have Richarlison, didn't have Rodriguez, didn't have Dina, and all that stuff playing with him for the creativity. And now all of those played, and he still didn't really do anything at all. So I mean, a lot of people on Twitter seem to be looking back at his way because their fixtures, the next 3 of the next 4, as I said, are really good. They've probably got a double soon as well because of that blank, but it might feature Man City, who seem to have a lot of doubles coming. So, he doesn't have the form, but you're going to bring him in on fixtures possibly. He's obviously had the form earlier in the season, but I don't know if that's enough to quite warrant it at the moment. I'm tempted by James Rodriguez as someone who's even lower ownership, who looks like he could hit form again. Who knows? I mean, he has the fixtures to do it. So, it's tempting to go somewhere in the Everton team at the moment, but it's unsure who.
And do you not think this is a good game week to do it? I mean, the start of the next 4 are pretty decent. I mean, Newcastle woeful at the moment. They're the worst form team in the league. They're second highest for expected goals conceded over the last 5. I think it's only West Brom that are higher than them, and they've obviously played Man City and got tonked. So you'd expect Everton to get a couple, and I kind of think that he's going to come back into scoring form this weekend. I mean,
the only thing that's putting me off slightly is that Newcastle did look a lot better in the second half of that other game of the night. I can't even remember who they played now. Was it Palace? I don't know. No. Anyway, I know that Wilson got an assist, and I know it was against my team, who I had a defender from.
Leeds. It was Leeds.
That was Meslier. That's where they go. So yeah, they looked a lot better, but maybe that's just Leeds getting tired of that sort of burnout of Bielsa ball. But I don't know, Bruce did something in the second half, and they did look better. So I don't know if that's a slight catalyst for them to start looking better. But away at Everton, you're probably not expecting much, except an Everton win, I guess.
No, I think that's pretty fair enough. I haven't really got a lot more to say on the Newcastle front. I think there's nothing there to talk about. I kind of expect an Everton win, and I think Calvert-Lewin back amongst the goals this weekend.
So, are you looking at Vardy to maybe on your wildcard, something like that?
Perhaps when we get onto the right at the end, our plans. But I do think I'm going to go with quite a little bit of a template team. But the template team is going to be a lot different than my current team, which is probably why I'm doing so bad. But Calvert-Lewin looks like is going to come in at the minute. All right, Palace against Wolves. I've got to say, Wolves are a bit of a something or nothing team, I think, at the minute without Jimenez. Not 1 in 5. They've just been a bit uninspiring, not been keeping many clean sheets. They're sort of really nothing there. I had a look at all their players and who was actually doing well. In expected points, it's actually Neves who's leading the way for them. He's had more big chances than Neto, who's meant to be sort of their creative spark. And Neto was bigged up and talked about, that 6 million midfielder player, and he's only had 1 assist in the last 5. So the Wolves front, nothing really at the moment, and their fixtures are quite mixed. So I kind of back Palace in this one.
Yeah, I think I do too. I mean, Wolves offered absolutely nothing going forward against Chelsea, literally 0, and that was probably a good time to face Chelsea as a new manager. So, who they had 1 training session before they played the game. So, expected a little bit more, and I'm not expecting much from Wolves in general at the moment. Until that William Jose has just come in. He looked okay when he came on. He obviously didn't really get enough time, but he scored 10 plus goals each season for the last 3 again for Real Sociedad in Spain. So I think he could be a decent sort of striker for them. I don't know if he's going to be a good FPL option, but he could fill Jimenez's shoes that Fabio Silva has failed to do. So maybe wait and see on him. But Palace, Zaha, I think he's worth a look at a punt right now. So the fixtures look really good. Wolves, Newcastle, Leeds, Burnley, Brighton. Like it's
not bad, is it?
That just the next 5 is just 5 fixtures that you would always want to own a Zaha. I think so. 14.8% owned, so he's still a differential under 15%. 5th highest scoring mid.
Wow.
Didn't expect to see that. 2 points more than Sterling, 4 more than KDB, which is, I don't know, just bonkers when you think about it. The next 6 fixtures look great for a punt. Against, the last 4, he's had 7 shots, which is not high in particular. I think he did miss 1 game. 1 big chance, 2 key passes, 0 big chances created. XG of 0.89 and XA of 0.32. But stats aren't the best, but historically, and he's not been that reliable when he's had a good fixture run either. So it's punty.
That's true.
But it's Zaha, and he can go. He can get braces. I think he's on penalties now, and so I think he's worth a look. There's people like Grealish and stuff like that, and Barnes who look like, there's a Grealish and Barnes that I should be getting, but Zaha looks tempting too because
it surprises me
outside of the
it surprises me still that he's under 15%. When he's that high up. Why do you think people are a bit reluctant to put him in? Because usually, if someone's looking for a replacement, I wouldn't say casual player because I'm almost that now. But when you're looking at the total rankings, you see someone like Grealish who's just above him. He's got nearly 40%, and Zaha's just under that with 15.
I don't know. Probably just because of his history of being unreliable, of just being inconsistent as hell. I think if he scores at all this week against Wolves, I think a lot more talk will be on him as a sort of go down from Rashford, sort of that sort of mid-price 7 million player. I think he could be a go-to. But there is the Barnes, there is the Madisons that have a great fixture as well and fixture run. So they're obviously in a better team. But do they score as many goals? I'm not really sure. Like Zaha is their one area for goals. So I don't know. I'm tempted.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, talking about players who are tempting, let's move on to the Man City game against Sheffield United because we're a bit sport for choice at the moment. And we were just talking before we started. If I play this wildcard, where would you see the best investment for Man City? Because they are playing some fantastic football at the moment. They got points all over the pitch, apart from their strikers, of course. But everyone's chipping in. And do you double up at the back or do you double up in midfield? I mean, Cancelo's looking great value. He could, like he did at the weekend, explode. Stones has been, steady and then spectacular in the double game week. And Diaz, the same, steady and spectacular. Lots of choice.
So obviously the next 2 fixtures are great. Sheffield United and Burnley. They obviously historically smash Burnley most of the time as well. Even though Burnley are a good team defensively, they usually always smash Burnley. Then Liverpool, Tottenham and Arsenal after that. So not ideal for triple up. But when Ederson, Stones and Diaz have started this year, they've not conceded a single goal.
Wow.
So that's pretty good. Their XG is 12.68 with 15 scored, which is first. Their XGC of 2.34, and they only conceded 1, which was garbage time 1 versus Chelsea in like the 96th minute or something like that. So they barely conceded as well. So honestly, it's pretty hard to tell you double up on defence or attack because who knows. But Gundogan was obviously offering value of 5.7 million. I had the opportunity to go there from KDB this week. I mean, you had KDB as well, right? Didn't you?
Did, yeah.
Did you? Yeah. Who did you sell?
Went to Son.
Who did you get from? You get Son, okay. So I went straight to Sterling, who obviously netted me 11 points, and I think he's going to do well. But he's obviously way more expensive at 11 point something. But Gundogan, 5.7 million, 11.6% owned. He's only going to keep going up and up. I mean, we're going to talk about him in the sort of differentials and captaincy video, but his numbers are crazy at the moment, honestly. They're KDB, Bruno, Salah type numbers, and at that value, he's really hard to ignore. What do you think of him?
Yeah, well, he looks like when you watch the games, he's just getting in the right position. And Man City have been crying out for someone to put the ball in the back of the net, and it's funny that it's been him. I mean, it's good as well that he's had the odd penalty, and that sort of boosted his appeal a little bit. I don't know if Sterling will come back to trying to take some, but Sterling's penalty record is awful. But yeah, Gundogan has been really, really impressive, and the goal he scored, or the 2 goals he scored against West Ham, West Brom the other night, were just, you'd expect that of like a number 9 like bustling forward, like especially the second one where he like knocks someone out of the way, nice touch, good control, and then just finding the bottom corner. So he's looking really, really sharp, and we're getting to a point in the season now where you could build a team with like 85 million budget. You've got Gundogan, you've got Souček, you've got players like Grealish. I mean, if you just
Saka.
Saka as well. You take a look at the sort of the high scoring players in each position. I know the premiums are out in front for midfield, especially with Fernandes, Son and Salah. But after that, Grealish, like I say, those players are making a bit of a mockery of their price tag this season. So yeah, I think he's a really good shout, and he's a good alternative to Sterling as well, because Sterling can be a frustrating player to own. Sterling, like he ended up getting the goal and assist, but for the premium price tag, when Gundogan's been putting in these big scores since maybe the last seven or so game weeks, and it does make you think I could be saving money here and spending it elsewhere.
Yeah, and speaking of value and sort of elsewhere, like the 7 of the last 8 game weeks, the top scoring player has been a defender.
Wow.
So, I mean, there you go. None of them are over like 7 million basically anymore. I think Robertson just did 7.1 or something. But yeah, everyone else. Stones last on the double, 27 points. Cancelo this week so far was 17 points. Like Keane in game week 18, 11 points.
Yeah.
Like Tierney in game 17, 18 points. There was me, House, and then the one outlier was McTominay randomly, and then Holgate after that. So, there's sort of value, as you say, in all these defenders at the moment. And Stones is proving great value at 5.2 or 3 now. I think he's got up to. So he's picking up ownership and. People are not ignoring him anymore, that's for sure, because he seems to be nailed on, because this partnership has not conceded a goal all season. So, at 19% owned now, at 5.2, hard to look past him. And then one of Cancelo and Diaz as another one, and Gundogan, and then you can probably have Son, Kane, and Bruno and Salah probably.
Exactly, So. It's trying to find that right balance. I mean, even just talking about defenders, I mean, we'll probably get onto it a bit later, but like Cresswell is top of the defender standings for total points. Who would have said that at the start of the season? He started at 5 million and he's on about 90, I think 92 points right now. So there's been some nice surprises this season. I don't think there's any nice surprises at Sheffield United. Obviously, amazing result last night away at United, picking up that 2-1 victory, but their numbers have been, as they have been all season, pretty poor, fairly mid-table for XG, but surprisingly they're ahead of the likes of Everton, Southampton and Leeds and Fulham over the last 5. So that was a bit of a surprise when I looked at the numbers, but no one really to recommend, and they've got some tough fixtures coming up. I think West Brom home game after this City game is a not really a make or break, because I think they are too far adrift, but if they beat them, they match West Brom on 11, so there could be some hope, but we remain to see. Anyway, should we move on and talk about West Brom themselves very briefly? They play Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham at the weekend, and then Sheffield United, as you say, and then Tottenham, Man United after that, and then Burnley. So the 3 of the next 5 are like okay-ish. Team stats, XG of 4.66 for 4 scored, but that's 2 penalties included in that, which has helped a lot. The XGC of 9.47 with 13 conceded, which is dead last at the moment. And they're conceding a lot at home at this point. So Fulham could come up here and rock 5 past them as well. I think Sam's record of not being relegated with the team is, surely going. This going this year. So Pereira is just someone who looked okay in the double. 5.6 million, 0.9%. So it's big differential. 2, 15, 9, and 2 in the last 3 weeks, which is obviously quite good. And his blanks to come against Arsenal and Man City, but he had 2 penalties in that time as well. Relegation battle game this week. If you're a Maverick, I think he could be worth a look. Seems to be nailed on now after coming back into the team. 6 shots, 2 big chances, 5 key passes, 1 big chance created. It's not the worst.
No.
So if you have, I mean, I don't know why you would ever go for him with the Sakas and Součeks and Gundogan's, but yeah, just someone to have a look at if you really want.
No, I like it. I think the interesting thing about West Brom at home is just how poor they are. So you think any team rocking up here has a chance doing it. I think I saw that they've got an average of 2.9 expected goals conceded at home this season. I mean, that's like a full goal worse than any other team. So yeah, heading into this one, I do kind of fancy Fulham, but yeah, nothing really on the Fulham side to get excited about on the attacking front. Maybe Cavallero, maybe Lookman, but neither of them have been pulling up trees recently. And when you consider their sort of prices similar to what someone like Souček is at 5.3, or Gundogan a bit more expensive at 5.7, there's nothing really there. Maybe if you, like you say, if you're looking for a one game week punt, I do kind of think that Fulham win this one this weekend, but it's difficult to want to back any of their players at the minute.
Yeah, I just don't know why you would ever spend the money. Because they're so inconsistent and they're not going to be scoring enough. So I think you would just go for a Souček, who you just keep first bench if you're going around that price, or you just go to a 4.5. I just don't worry about it.
No, yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's go on to something a bit more interesting. Let's talk about Arsenal against Man United. Man United, of course, like we just mentioned, that surprise defeat against Sheffield United last night. Now another must-win game away at an Arsenal team that are quite in form at the minute. They're looking quite good.
Yeah, they're actually 8.41 with 10 scored, so they're hitting a little bit of form in front of goal. And their XG is pretty good too, at 3 with only actually 1 conceded. So I've got Holding on my, I think, second bench just for the coming week. Didn't play him this week, which is obviously a good decision in the end. But he's obviously providing value at 4.5 million. But he's kind of stinking up the bench at the same time, so I don't know when I'm going to play him, because the fixtures on paper look bad, but then they actually have been doing all right. So I think I can definitely play him next week against Wolves. Villa away seems kind of tough. And then Leeds at home, who obviously Leeds seem to score goals as well. So there's only one game in the next 3 or 4 I could really definitely want to play him. So I'm thinking maybe a Holding to a Mitchell or someone like that just to save some funds at this point might be worth it. But I quite like his sort of security of being nailed on and in a good defensive team.
He's not much
and that
money,
I can just put him on the field if I ever need to. Not a bad shout. Anyway, so talking of sort of in-form players at Arsenal would be Lacazette, 8.3 million, 6.4%. But, he's a free hit and bench boost troll, because his only blanks in the last 5 weeks have been when people actually bought him, including my... I think you got him on free hit, did you?
No, I didn't. No, I swear.
No, I actually didn't either, actually, but a lot of people did. And Saka as well, who I did buy on free hit, who blanked in the free hit blank week, but did score in the double, and has obviously returned recently as well. So, Lacazette... 8, 7, 12, 2, 2 and 11 in the last 5, which is obviously those 2 blanks in the doubles and the blanks, as I said. Fixtures over the next 3 don't look great for goals. So obviously Man United, Wolves and Villa, all 3 you'd say are decent defensive teams. Man United obviously conceding 2 to Sheffield United, not great. But those 3 teams are all high or amongst the best for XGC and goals conceded. Yeah, he's had 6 big chances, which is first of all strikers, first in the game at the moment, actually. XG of 3.15, which is first of all players as well, and XA of 1.05. 9 shots, 6 key passes, 1 big chance is created, 27 points. Usually with those sort of stats, the community would be all over someone like that, but it's Lacazette, it's in an Arsenal team, and I don't know, people just aren't looking that way, and you can obviously see why, I guess, because he is a bit of a troll, because he blanks when you really need him to score.
It's been an interesting one the last couple of weeks, watching Arsenal sort of rise back up the table after Lampard obviously not getting given time when Chelsea in a bit of a rut. It goes to show that Arsenal board, I suppose, kept favour of Arteta when they were really struggling, and they're putting on such a good run. I honestly didn't expect Lacazette to become a sort of key player for them in this time, and like you say, it's annoying for anyone that had him on the bench boost and the free hit, but the 8, 7, 12 and 11 scores around that, not to be argued with. He's looked good, and he's part of, or the main reason they're having a bit of a resurgence up the table. Do you think United, before last night, Manchester United's defence had been pretty good. They'd had 3 clean sheets in the last 5 games. they looked, well, obviously quite tight in that game at Anfield in the Premier League before the Sheffield United game. Do you think you see high scoring this one? Because I kind of think it's been a bit of a cagey counter again.
No, yeah, I don't see it high scoring, honestly. But it's too risky to play holding, I think. At the same time, because it could be, because I've got Fernandes, I'm going to want him to score. So I'm definitely selling Rashford, I think. But at the same time, I look at Rashford and I think the only games he's actually any good in are games where he can be on the counter attack.
Yeah.
And an Arsenal game, you would expect them to at least attack a bit. Obviously, I think the last game between them was 0-0 as well, wasn't it? Or Arsenal scored a penalty, didn't they? So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be tight, and it could be 1-0 either way, honestly.
Well, United have got such a great record on the away from home this season. I think they've won 12 of their 14, but I do think this is going to be a really difficult one for them. And I mean, I've got the armband looks like on my preview it's on Bruno at the moment, but that's simply because I haven't played the wildcard yet. It's likely going to go to a City player, but I do think I mean, Bruno is actually blanked 3 times in the last 4. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it 4 in the last 5. I do think it's going to be that difficult a game, and United might play it a bit like they did at Anfield. They try and sit back and try and hit them on the counter-attack, and I think Arsenal's defence at the moment is good enough to keep them out. So, yeah, and also United's XG suffered a little bit as well. So in the last 5, I mean, say suffered a little bit. In the last 5, they've slipped to the 5th highest record for expected goals, and before that, so that's behind, teams like City, Spurs, Arsenal, West Ham. And the previous 5 games before that, they were ahead of City, top of the league. So there's been a bit of a regression in front of goals. So, yeah, I'm not sure I fancy them this weekend.
I think it's down to Bruno's form. He's just obviously he came off the bench in the FA Cup and great free kick, but what else did he really do? And it's just his form. I don't know, attacking wise, it just not quite there at the moment. Just need to get him back on top of things, and then I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be getting fed the ball enough. I think he's just not being passed to enough in the middle of the park, and it's Rashford and Martial doing absolutely nothing. They needed Cavani last night. Maybe he's just too old to play every game, but Cavani seems to be the one that sort of is linking them all together at the moment. So they need him on the pitch.
Just a quick shout out just to Luke Shaw, because he's had 13 key passes in his last 5 games. So that's the second highest of all United players, 2 behind Bruno. But to have 13 key passes as a defender is pretty amazing. He's created 2 big chances, XA of 1.29 in the last 5. So he's been a bit unlucky not to get any returns. And those 13 key passes are more than any other defender at the moment. So yeah, cementing himself as the best left back in the league, I'd probably say.
I mean, he needs to play because Teller was absolutely awful last night. Absolutely awful.
All right, but he did get an assist, Tellers. You owned him this season. You owned Tellers.
Because I expected him to be really good coming from Portugal and his sort of reputation, but not happened.
No, it's not happened at all. All right, Southampton against Aston Villa. The Saints forward line is a bone of contention for me because Adams, well, like you said, they should have had a double. I had Adams. I wouldn't have picked him otherwise, and obviously since then he's been such a fluff, and he's sort of also, as well as being a fluff himself, he's dented Danny Ings' appeal. I watched the extended highlights of the game the other day, the Arsenal Saints game, and whenever there was a ball in the box for Southampton, Ings was miles away, and it was always falling to or near Adams. I was thinking that last season it was only Ings in the box, and I kind of feel like Adams has pushed him to the side, even though they're playing 2 up front, and he's nowhere near as clinical. Why do you think that's happened? Answer it, Kieran. Tell me.
Well, he's had 1 goal and 1 assist since week 10. 2 returns in 10 weeks, that is. So, I mean, his XG of 0.35 and XA of 0.15 over 4 weeks, which is very poor. I mean, that's average out per game is probably 0.1-ish, below that per game for XG, which is shocking for a striker. I mean, 3 shots in 4 weeks, 0 big chances, 1 key pass, 0 big chances created. I think he did miss a game through that concussion protocol thing, but still, I mean, he might even need to be dropped from the team. Played long. I mean, that's probably even worse, but maybe Ings up by himself. I don't know.
Let's go back to last season. Make Danny Ings an option again.
But was he ever always by himself? I guess Adams did sort of come back in eventually, didn't he?
Like in Project Restart a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. So Ings by himself could be good. But their teams at the moment, they seem to be struck by a lot of injury worries because their teams lately have been full of kids. So, yeah, I don't know. Saints not looking great right now. I have McCarthy. I'm playing in versus Villa at the moment, but don't really want to. Honestly, I would like to sell if I can.
I know. I've had such a nightmare with keepers this season because I had obviously Ramsdale all that time, and then swapped them both out on the wild card, and now I've got like double Southampton defence with Walker Peters injured. I don't really fancy McCarthy. I'd be happy to pay the extra money to get Pope, or maybe even Martinez or Leno.
Why don't you bring Ramsdale back in on your
I don't want to bring Ramsdale back in. He's awful.
For old time's sake.
For old time's sake, yeah, okay, I'll do it for old time's sake. Let's just have a quick look. How many points has Ramsdale got? He's 50 points so far this season. He's played every game. Johnson's got more than it, like 6 more than him, and he's only missed. Anyway, Ramsdale was awful. And also, I don't think it was a foul last night when Maguire went up for him and then Martial tapped it in.
No, it wasn't.
Flappy, isn't he? Anyway, all right, so on to the Villa side of things. 3 losses and 5. With that after that late comeback from Burnley last night, which kind of surprised me because Villa, like back in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, Villa are ticking along and doing all right, but yeah, they've hit a bit of a rougher patch at the minute, and they've not looked good defensively either. So they're third worst for XGC in the league in the last 5, which is kind of a bit of a surprise as well. A lot of people have Martinez. Makes me laugh really because I was looking at players I could have and nearly bought for the double. And Matt Target was one because I was thinking, keep a clean sheet in that Newcastle game. And how the hell he scraped out of that double game week with like 18 points because he got the cleaner against City and then the assist, cleaner and bonus against Newcastle. So yeah, big. But they're not doing great defensively. But in attacking wise, they're still up there. So 8.46 is the 5th highest expected goals total, and 13 big chances is actually the highest. Joint highest total of all teams in the last 5. So yeah, they're looking quite smart. Watkins, of course, scored again last night. I think the problem with him is, from a FPL point of view, is when he has too much time to finish, he's not the best. Like that one where he was put through 1-on-1, he had 2 bad touches and rushed it. Yeah. Whereas that one where he ran across, I think it was Ben Mee for the first goal. I was like, that's such a top finish. And another Matt Target assist. Not that I've got anything against Matt Target. But yeah, 6.2 million. And they've got some good fixtures coming up. And his numbers are good. 10 shots in the box in the last 5. 5 big chances. Expected points of 29. So they're comparing that across all forwards. Puts him second overall for big chances and top for expected points. So I kind of think that the Watkins over the next couple of games could be good. You had him, didn't you, a while back?
Yeah, I did, and he was very frustrating to aim. But I do really like watching him because he gets so many chances. And there's some massive holes around there, and if he just gets better with some finishing, then he's going to be a really good striker in this league. Yeah. And I'm tempted to take a hit for him this week, honestly, because I'm kind of bored of Bamford. I'm bored of Rodrigo. I don't want both 2 Leeds strikers anymore because obviously I got them for that wild card and supposedly got a double game week. And I'm Bamford's lost form. I wish I could do Rodrigo to Watkins, but I'm like 0.1 short because Watkins went up last night, which is really annoying. But Bamford's lost form, so I don't mind losing Bamford and just keeping Rodrigo as a cheap option eventually, and then possibly downgrade him at some point as well. So Rashford to Son and a Bamford to Watkins, I'm tempted by because they're going to have a couple doubles as well coming as well for Villa. So I think we probably need to get onto a few of them. And obviously Grealish always looks good. Oh God, but Watkins as only 6.2, I think it could be the way to go for my team at least because I like the power midfield and the cheaper strikers, and Watkins got the sort of decent enough fixtures and form. So yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like there's... plotting all these wildcard teams in my head, every time we go through a team tonight, I'm kind of thinking, oh yeah, they'd be good in my team. And there's going to be too many players I want to fit in. But I think you're right. I think there's more value in the midfield at the minute. But the problem is you spend so much on these sort of cheaper midfield options. Maybe I'm probably going to have Souček and Gundogan. You've got just so much money left in the bank. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's your Kane. You're forced into a Kane then, I think.
Yeah,
but
that's true. Nothing wrong with Harry Kane.
Probably not bad. Yeah, no. Yeah.
All right, we're on to Sunday, and starting the day on Sunday is a whopper of a fixture. Chelsea have got to prove why it was a good idea to bring in Thomas Tuchel. Is it Tuchel or Tuchel?
Too cool? I don't know.
Too cool. All right. Too cool. All right. So midday on Sunday, Chelsea welcome Burnley. Nick Pope masterclass incoming. 33 points in the last 5 for Nick Pope. He's the 5th highest scoring player in the game in the last 5 fixtures. Did you know that? I love to know.
I thought you were going to say overall. I was going to be like, what?
Oh no! In the last 5, 5th highest, which is he's sort of back to Popey of last season, the Popey I know and love. Yeah. And he's a steal, Kieran, absolute steal at 5.4 million. Do you agree?
Not really.
Not really. Yeah. Why not?
5.4 million. I mean, you wouldn't spend that for an Edison, would you? So
how much? Yeah, but Edison's way expensive. 6 million.
Well, okay, so like a Mendy. Mendy's like 5-0 or something for Chelsea.
But Pope gets bonus points and saves. Mendy just lets goals in recently. Anyway,
that's true.
Anyway, all right. So maybe not for Pope for you, but for me definitely. Talk to me about Chelsea because they obviously, like you say, had their first game under Tuchel the other night. They've got another blank. Werner blanked again. They play. Didn't they play a strange formation? They play 3 at the back.
Yeah, they wing backed it up. So their XG of 4.65. They've only scored 2 in the last 4 weeks, which is obviously pretty damn bad. And their XGC of 6.25, and they conceded 5, so it's not good either. Speaking of FPL assets, like Werner wasn't in the team, James, Mount, Zuma, all of those instantly kicked out of Lampard's Chelsea and not in the team last night. So, you owned James, probably weren't expecting that because I thought Tuchel would like him, honestly. And Chilwell was the only sort of normal one that you'd expect to come in from the defence, other than Thiago Silva, who obviously he's going to like because he was there with PSG. But yeah, Chilwell, 6.1 million, 22.7% owned, so still quite high. But 3 of the next 4 looked obviously really good. Burnley, Tottenham, Sheffield United, then Newcastle and Southampton after that. Not bad either. He's had 2 goals, 4 assists, and 6 clean sheets this season, and it remains to be seen if he's nailed on, I suppose, because obviously we don't really know. But Tuchel, as far as I'm aware, was an avid rotator of fullbacks, wingbacks. He did it a lot at PSG, kind of like Pochettino was with the Spurs ones. So I'd be worried about getting him in because he might miss a few. He could bring Alonso back, could bring Emerson back in the picture, like who knows. But so in that one game, his average position was higher than any other game he'd ever had this season.
Chilwell's?
Against Chilwell's, so he was about probably like 10 yards further up the pitch in his average sort of positioning. And his average position in that game was basically a left forward. He was higher up than pretty much anyone else in the whole team. So that's not bad. Obviously, if you're watching that as a Chilwell owner, you're like, yes, okay, this is great.
Well, if they persist with 3-4-2-1 or whatever it is, 3-5-2, he could be great as a left wing back.
I think it kind of makes sense if you're going to play Azpilicueta as someone who could sort of drop in and be that sort of side that covers when someone like Chilwell goes really far forward. Then Chilwell's great. His stats wise are actually really bad. So versus Wolves, he had 3 touches in the box, which is okay, but 2 crosses, none of them were successful, and he had 1 shot, 0 key passes, 0 big chances created, and 0 big chances himself. So it's not ideal viewing for his stats wise, but I think he's certainly one to look at. But it's a shame he's 6.1 million, which is quite expensive.
It is, isn't it? But we know he's done it already this season, don't we? We know he can
exactly. And the fixtures are there for you to hold him at least. But I'd like to see him do something this week, and maybe I can bring him in for Sheffield United and Newcastle.
Yeah, definitely.
In a couple weeks' time.
I think they've got some good fixtures. No, I think that's all right. I think Burnley haven't really got much more to say. I was surprised really that, well, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Ben Mee led the way for shots in the box over the last 5 for Burnley with 4, which is just sort of sums up how Sean Dyche likes to set up really. Anyway, let's talk about some sexy teams. Leicester against Leeds should be a really good game because I think 2 teams that want to attack at the core and like run like crazy for their managers. I think this could be quite a fun game, really.
Yeah, I'm torn on it because it could go either way, and I've got Justin, I've got Meslier, Rodrigo, Bamford at the moment, so I'm
a lot riding on this game for you.
Which way I want to go with it, to be honest. Justin is like, I'm looking at it like. He could easily get a clean sheet, but at the same time, he could easily concede 4. So that's a worry. But then Bamford does not look good at the moment. Rodrigo has not looked great. Rafinha looked decent last game. So I'm not sure on that one. But I think it's probably going to be high scoring because both of them are doing well going forward at the moment.
Yeah.
Vardy may be back. I think he's only like maybe 1 or 2 games away from being back. Anyway, so yeah, Leicester, 1 official FPL red fixture difficulty ranking until week 30. So there's 10 weeks of them with a really good run.
Good,
obviously worth investing because they're like third or fourth. So they're in the title race still. Leeds, Fulham, Wolves, Liverpool, Villa. After that, like Villa, Liverpool, obviously not easy either. So there are teams in there that are going to be sort of challenges for them. But you probably want to invest. I'm hoping Justin is still nailed on, so I can just have him in my team and play him in these games. Pereira is back now, which is obviously a worry, but he's started the last one with Pereira being fit. Pereira came on and Justin didn't get taken off for him, so that's all good signs if you're a Justin owner like me. And then Barnes, someone to talk about. Obviously, everyone's talking about Maddison at the moment, but Barnes is ticking along as well, and way good. Less ownership at 5.7%, 6.8 million. He is 7, 8, 2, 9, 6, 6 in the last 6. So he's just ticking along. Seems to be more of an advanced goal threat than Maddison is. But stats-wise, Barnes beats him in a lot of cases. The XG of 1.8 versus 1.03, which is better. XA of 0.66 versus 0.13 is beating him there. Big chances 3 versus 1. Shots 10 versus 12. Key passes 9 versus 7. And touches in the box 21 versus 10. So, Barnes seems like the better pick, even though Maddison seems to be getting all the limelight at the moment.
Yeah, no, I highlighted him at the start of the season because I thought he had the great numbers, but he just hadn't got many returns. But yeah, like you say, recently he's really put it together. I mean, his assist the other night wasn't like your typical FPL assist because Tielemans had that shot and Pickford spilled it. But no, he has been playing really well, so fair play. And he had a good score, a bit like Maddison in that double game week, and they've kind of proved a little bit that they can take the mantle from Vardy, who's not done a lot recently. I mean, Vardy was an absolute fluff up on the double game week, getting 4 points. We didn't mention actually, going back to it, which is probably no one's going to listen to this in the middle of the show, but we didn't know who to captain for the double game week, so Kieran and I spun for it.
Yeah.
And you flipped a coin, I spun for it, and my option, I had 4 options, didn't I? Kevin, Salah, Vardy, and I can't remember Fernandez. That was it. And you just had Salah and KDB, and amazingly, we both had Salah. Some statistician will tell us what the probability of us both getting Salah is. But yeah, it was a bit boring, wasn't it? Anyway, that was enough on that one.
Absolute fluff.
Yeah, fluff on that. All right, Leeds. 3 wins in the last 5 games. So they're on a bit of an upturn at the minute, but they've got Leicester, Everton, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Wolves to come. Some tricky fixtures there. It's been high scoring in their away games. 2.5 goals scored in the last 5 away matches, but they are way overperforming their XG, which surprised me a little bit. So 3.98 in the last 5 with 7 goals scored, which is the biggest overperformance of any team in the league in that time. They're looking a little bit tighter at the back. 8th best for expected goals conceded in the last 5. I did note that on their set pieces, they've actually conceded 10 chances in the last 5 games, which is like 3 more than anyone else in the team or in the league. So Maddison could benefit from that if he's on set pieces this weekend. Are they? Yeah, maybe got Evans, Soyuncu. Was it Fofal? Did he get injured? I kind of felt like someone went off in the Everton game.
Indeed he went off.
Yeah, indeed he went off. Okay, I couldn't quite remember who that was. But anyway, so they could be a bit in danger from that sort of area. What do you think on Bamford at the minute? He's dropped off. I was having a look at his numbers. 2 big chances and 9 shots in the box than the previous 5 game weeks. So in the 5 before that, he'd had double the amount of big chances with 4, and he'd had about 25% more shots in the box with 13. Do you think he's tired, or do you think it's just, why do you think he got subbed 59th minute the other day?
Bielsa's sort of done that before, hasn't he? When players aren't looking good, he'll sub them out, just no problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's all that was. I don't think he was injured. I think he just was having a bad game and just didn't do anything, and so he just took him off. But I mean, just looking at his numbers, he did get 2 returns before the last 3 of 2 8-pointers. So I don't know. It's just, I think if you're gonna sell him, now is a good time. To be honest, a good a time as any with the fixtures coming up. Leicester, Everton, Palace is obviously a good game, but Arsenal after that, Wolves again, who obviously good defensively. Villa are also that good defensively. West Ham are obviously good defensively at the moment as well. So Leeds can score goals, but is Bamford going to get them? Like I'm hedging towards going towards Watkins for just the getting on that Villa hype train a bit more. But yeah, I don't know. It could be absolutely really stupid of me to sell him, but yeah, especially for a hit.
With his ownership so high as well.
Yeah, I wish I'd kind of done it last night, and I could have just got rid of Rodrigo instead. But yeah, I'm that 0.1 short now, which is the bane of FPL manager existence. But yeah.
No, that's fair. Rafinha looked good as well, didn't he? I mean, you considered
great
the
finish, yeah.
Triple Leeds up on your team.
Well, I do have triple Leeds because I got Meslier as well.
Yeah. So, triple Leeds attack.
Yeah. No way.
Strong.
Anytime I've played Rodrigo, he's blocked Souček's points.
Has he?
Every time, yeah. So I've played him, I think, 3 times, and he's actually got a goal and assist 2 times. So he's only blanked once, and I think actually no, the blank was when I had him first bench instead of Souček again. That was what it was. So. Yeah, annoying. But Rodrigo seems to tick along at the moment. He's not going to get any hauls, and he's playing in midfield when he's a striker, which isn't great. He's out of position, reverse out of position. But yeah, I don't know. He's decent enough value, I suppose, at 5.7.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we move on to? It's going to be difficult, basically. Like Keek said at the top of the show, we're doing this before Liverpool Spurs. So I feel like we're just going to be doing half of the analysis, but. West Ham could welcome Liverpool this weekend, being ahead of them in the league still. That's if Liverpool, I think, draw or lose tonight. I think that's right. So
yeah, we take the piss out of our mate for that because that's pretty funny.
But I think West Ham have just got to be credited as well because they've been great, really, really good. And obviously, like we've mentioned Souček before. It's surprising he's not had more ownership, but I've stuck with him, and he's made his way into is he that 6th or 7th highest on the midfielder sort of overall point scoring list now. He's crept right up.
He's been your 4th mid for practically the whole season, hasn't he?
4th mid for the whole season. I mean, he's got 3 double-digit returns in his last 6 games: 10, 11, and 15, surrounded by a 3 and a 2 and a 2. I mean, that's ideal. I think he's 1 point behind Sterling for the season, 1 ahead of KDB now. It's mad.
He's just so tall.
He is so tall.
Like, just getting his head on everything, and then like, yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm. It's annoying I've not owned him, and it's annoying that I bench him. But I just every time I look at him, I'm just like, oh, he's not going to score this week, is he? Yeah. But then he just does. And it's just, and it's yeah, I should never have put him second bench. That was just so stupid. But yeah, I'm going to play him this week because I don't think I really have a choice.
He'll probably score against Liverpool.
Yeah, I think he probably could. Yeah, Liverpool defence is pretty decimated right now, isn't it? So, and I think Fabinho might miss out as well tonight. So I don't know if he's that injured. So, yeah, Souček against a Reece Williams and a Henderson maybe at the weekend could be really good.
Could be really good.
Yeah, he's got 7 goals for the season as well. And this only just gone halfway stage for centre mid at 5.3 million. That's obviously really good. Played 90 minutes every single game. Yeah, XG of 1.74 the last 4 games. That's really good for 5.3 million. 6 shots, 3 big chances, one key pass as well. So he's got some sort of assist potential too. His XG is actually higher than Aubameyang, Sterling, Watkins, Cavani, Foden.
Love it.
The
list
goes on. Yeah.
He's
crazy.
He's been a shining. I mean, if I didn't have Souček's points this week, it would have been an utter disaster. It would have been like 15 or so. So praise the Lord. But I've just been keeping faith with him. And you said right at the start of the season, even if you play him every week, he could always get a goal from a set piece against anyone.
Yeah.
And he's just continued to do that. And like you say, the fact that he's played 90 minutes, it's really funny because I look at my team and think, God, I'm still playing a 5 million player. But if his name wasn't, if he wasn't playing for West Ham and he wasn't 5 million, the fact that he sat around premium players playing for top 4 clubs, you just wouldn't have any hesitation putting him in based on his points. So yeah, I'm happy to keep having him, and he'll probably remain on the wildcard, to be honest. So more Souček love for the rest of the season. So
he's gonna be like 6'5" next year and absolutely unplayable, which is
yeah, definitely.
you can't buy him for that much.
No.
Or can you? I mean, maybe.
I know.
But
Did you see they slapped 6 million on Odegaard? Or whatever you pronounce it.
It's a bit expensive, isn't
That
it?
is a bit expensive.
Although I think it's kind of fair, but it's when Saka's doing bits for less, you'd never pick him.
Exactly. It's weird, isn't it? It's a bit hard to preview the Liverpool game, so let's just say they failed to score in the last 4 games. And Salah has been blanking since God knows when in the league. But he scored in the FA Cup. Do you think that's going to give him confidence heading in tonight? Do you think Liverpool are going to bounce back and
I think
win?
he scores. I don't know about win, but I think he scores tonight.
Okay. You think it's been quite an open game?
Yeah, I'm not sure about open, but I think he scores.
You say you hope he scores. Like, isn't that going to be a killer on, I don't know, effective ownership on people that have captained him for the rank?
Should just be dead teams. I imagine anyone that's like sort of invested now, I think wouldn't have captained Salah this week.
That's fair enough.
And I'm high enough up in the rank that dead teams shouldn't really affect me too much. So I think I'll be okay.
All right, so that makes sense. All right, so I kind of think I think Liverpool are going to have a bit of a comeback tonight. I kind of fancy them to win, but I've been wrong before, so we'll see.
Could Trent finally have a good game?
Maybe. It's 8:00, isn't it? Kick off tonight.
Yeah, against Davies, who's obviously regular and I think is injured for a couple of weeks now. So Davies back in there, and Davies is pretty poor. So let's see. All
right, so the last game of the game week features the other team playing tonight, Liverpool. Spurs. Brighton welcome them to the Amex. Is there anything much to say on Brighton, really?
Not really. Their fixtures are pretty tough. Tottenham, Liverpool, Burnley. Obviously not going to be great for goals in that. Maybe a clean sheet possibly, but Villa as well after that, and then Crystal Palace. So yeah, 3 of the next 4 look pretty rough. XG 5.06, 4 scored. Yeah, meh. XGC of 5.48 with 4 conceded. Yeah, fine. Mopay, I mean, their highest scoring player on 71 points, 7-1-9 and 2 last 4 weeks, which isn't too bad actually. But he's just so inconsistent, and he went on a run of 10 blanks in a row from game week 5 to 15 as well. So, but his XG of 2.23 is pretty damn high. XA of 0.79 as well. 10 shots, 4 big chances, 3 key passes, and 1 big chance created. So, if those stats belong to someone like Vardy, I think we'd all be like, oh yeah, okay, let's get on Vardy. He's looking great right now. So, but I'm just never going to pick him because it's Mopai and he's terrible.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. No one from Brighton's really interested me probably for the season, to be honest. They had like the first 2 good games, but forgotten about them.
I've owned Basuma as just a 4.5 and that's it. No one else the whole time. And Lamptey's just gone absolutely missing with that hamstring injury. Usually is only like 4 weeks usually a hamstring, something like that, 4 to 5 weeks, and he's been gone since week 13 now. So
as long as we have
quite a while.
Maybe he'll be back this weekend like us.
Yeah.
On the Sun side of things, on the Spurs side of things, do you see his ownership's gone back up to 60% now? KDB out, most of the transfers went that way, so he's
I'm worried.
Yeah,
I should have gone that way. I should have got the hit from Rashford to Sun.
What's the price difference between those two?
I think Rashford's like 9.3 or something like that. Or 9.6 and Sun's like 9.7-ish. Yeah, so it's not much.
Okay, there's a little bit in it. But he's like they say, back up to 60% ownership, 3 returns in the last 5. And Kane is looking at the overall score. I can't believe how many far out in front in the striker category. He's 30 points ahead of the next best, and he's had 4 returns in his last 6, 3 goals and 3. I do think, just preview or just as we talk through this, I think if I'm going to have a cheap midfield, Harry Kane's going to be a must in the team, to be honest.
It has to be.
Yeah, and I think he's still joint top point scorer in the league, or sort of in FPL terms this season. So yeah, going to get back on him, I think.
It's weird, I haven't owned him the whole season, and apart from the free hit where he got me a goal, which is fine. But I don't have the Kane fear for some reason. Every time I'm just like, it's just Kane. But he's so far ahead, and it's like I'm having a decent-ish season now at the 150k, and I haven't owned Kane at all.
It's weird, isn't it?
It just shows that you can get points from other people. And Son, I think I should definitely get Son back in because that is the setup of my team as of a power midfield. I'm happy to go back to Son, and although maybe I should just get cheapie like a Saka and get a Bamford up to Kane. But I don't know. I'm just not interested in Kane.
And he's got a high ownership as well. He's 50%, so he's like one of the. I think he's 48. I think he's about the third or fourth highest owned player in the game. So yeah, it's strange that you don't feel the negative impact, and good, I guess, that you don't as well.
As soon as that Twitter notification for Son goal, Kane assist comes up, I know that the green is instantly turned into red tonight.
That arrow's flipping.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. All right. That wraps it up, I suppose, for the main show. We'll just go over just the captaincy then. It sounds like, well, you've had your armband on Sterling the whole show in the preview.
Yeah, it's on Sterling at the moment. Cancelo could get it as well, to be honest. Might be chasing points a little bit. But then Salah, I think, if he gets anything tonight, I think West Ham have looked good, but I don't think they're good enough to keep Liverpool out. So it could go to Salah at the same time.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty fair. I think like I say, I will probably do a Man City midfielder in this week, and then it will probably be a toss-up between a Man City defender and a Man City midfielder. The thing with the defenders is you'd hope that Cancelo starts again this weekend because he would be he'd be really juicy, but it's just always that fear that he might get benched and come on for a point.
Yeah, the actual worry for Sterling as well is he played 90, whereas Bernardo, Foden and Gundogan came off early. So I don't know if Sterling's going to be benched. I mean, I hope not. I don't think he will be, but there's that doubt.
You just never know, do you?
And if you get Gundogan, you had confident captaining? I assume you are.
Yeah, because it's another one of those things about just take the price away from the player. Because the only probably reason you wouldn't captain him is because of the price. But based on form and like long, I suppose, form over like 6 games, that's enough to make a good decision on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for sticking with us. It's good to be back doing a show. I feel a bit rusty from it, but yeah, good to be back. And we'll be back next week, I believe, with our preview show for Gameweek 22. Until that time, more content coming up later in the week for the captaincy and differentials video. So keep an eye for that. It's goodbye from me.
Cheers, everyone.